Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy, also known as ETCG1, and when you watch videos on this channel, if it is your birthday, I wish you a happy birthday. It's just what I do. All right, today's topic of discussion is Friday traffic rages outside. I had a little bit of time, so I did some thinking on possible videos I could do instead of sitting in traffic. Here I am. So the idea that I came up with is I'm sitting here thinking about my videos and other DIY videos on YouTube. And the question comes up is, are those videos helping or hurting the DIY community? Back in the day before YouTube, you had magazines or friends or, you had the library. You had a little more difficult time accessing information on how to do certain things. Mostly for me, it was stuff that I got out of books or magazines. Now, YouTube has gotten to the point where there are 8-year-olds driving their 4-year-old siblings to McDonald's to get drive-through because they want to be able to do it. And they look up how to drive on YouTube, and there they go. It's kind of interesting the direction that our society is going now, isn't it? In that case, it was certainly effective for the kid. If an 8-year-old can learn how to drive from a YouTube video, you can learn to do just about anything, right? Maybe, maybe not. YouTube was really coming into vogue right about the time I was leaving the mechanical field. And in my experience, the DIYers that would bring me vehicles that they had worked on and maybe were successful and maybe they weren't, there was a very small percentage of those DIYers that were effective at the repairs that they were attempting. In fact, more often than not, it just created more work for me. I did a video, Don't Make My Life More Difficult. I'll link that down in the description, talking about that very thing, to where people that shouldn't have been messing with stuff started messing with stuff, and away we go. Now, I understand. A lot of us are broke and we can't afford to have somebody fix our car, but we still got to get to work. So somehow, some way this has to happen. And if a YouTube video is all I need to get my car fixed, to get back down the road, why not give it a shot? Well, this is where the ice gets thin. And there are some people who are mechanically inclined and perfectly capable of doing work on their own vehicles. Yet there are other people that, in my opinion, are even more dangerous because they think they can work on their vehicles and they think that they know what they're doing. Those I find to be the most dangerous. People who are overly cautious, I don't find them to be as dangerous because they're overly cautious. In other words, they will take a second to think before they take action, whereas the other type will pretty much go in guns blazing and say, I know better than this and I got this. Hold my beer. I think it's always been this way. But I think YouTube has empowered some of those people who wouldn't necessarily make an attempt to make an attempt, some people, and others it might have been a cautionary tale. I try to put information in my videos, even my mistakes. And part of the reason that I do this is because I don't want people to think that mechanics are some kind of magical, creatures that walk the earth that can suddenly wave a magic wand and everything gets better. We're human just like the rest of you. And we do make mistakes, just like the rest of you. I did a video about mechanic fails. I'll link it down in the description. Point being is, not all of us are perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. But I wonder if sometimes putting out the information that I put out and some of the information that I've seen on YouTube is like putting a loaded weapon in the hands of a toddler. To some people it can be very detrimental, to where others it can be very beneficial and get them out of that jam and get their car running and get them back to work. That's my intention. That's always been my intention. However, I have found over the years that people interpret the information that I put out many different ways. Things that I had even thought of when making the video start coming up in the comments almost as soon as I post the video, and I either smack myself in the head and say, oh, I wish I would have thought of that, or smack myself in the head and say, why are you focusing on that instead of the core information that I was trying to convey? I never know. I never really know what people are going to gravitate towards in those videos until they're out in the world. I do my best to try to cover as many bases as I can before I get there, but each and every time I post a video, especially now, the quote-unquote bigger that I get, the more I'm thinking to myself, is it a good idea? Take my headlight videos, for instance. Those aren't necessarily out there to advocate that people start upgrading their headlights. Those are out there to say, hey, this is what happens when you upgrade your headlights. And I get a lot of poop for that. And that's just one example. And I get emails all the time from people telling me that with the use of my videos, they were able to get their car, their daughter's car or somebody's car back on the road that wouldn't have happened otherwise without the information found in one of my videos or one of my contemporaries on the internet. I love that. I'm proud of that. And that for me is when it works. But does it always work? So I'm putting the question out to you, and that's really the core of this video. Has the DIY community benefited or not from the advent of things like YouTube and making this information readily available? Especially for you technicians out there who might be watching. I'm sure that you get customers coming in now that say, I saw on YouTube that all you have to do is blah, 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 and it should only cost me 10 bucks. That's sort of what I saw in my career, not necessarily because of YouTube, but because of something they read on the internet or whatever. And sometimes, honestly, they were right. And other times it's kind of like, really, dude, you're gonna take my, thousands of dollars in tools and everything like that and pretty much say that that's worth nothing, that my experience is worth nothing. It puts a bad taste in my mouth, and I had hoped from the onset when I started making my repair videos is that I wouldn't put other technicians in that position. In fact, I vehemently stayed away from doing any kind of pricing in any of my videos for that very reason. I didn't want to be seen as the guy who was dictating how much something should cost, because it varies from location. And once again, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that everybody's saying, well, our car guy said it's only supposed to cost this much. No. There's so many different variables that come into play, and I can't cover them all. It's impossible for me to do that. Getting back to the core discussion here, has the internet, has YouTube, has this information that we have readily available at our fingertips made us, as DIYers, better or worse off? I'd love to get your input on that. Hence the reason we have discussions here on ETCG1. Automotive questions, do you have them? There'll be a link in the description to ericthecarguy.com. Please go there. Otherwise, I want to thank you for watching and close my videos with be safe, have fun, stay dirty. I'll see you next time.